Hello again, and welcome to the first video of this series demonstrating and testing Apocalyptica. In this video we will be focusing on the main title screen and traversing around the menu, the user interface that allows for character creation, and save file loading, and finally beginning the game. The tests in this video. In this video I will be conducting the following tests: exploring the menu, then traversing the menu, interacting with each of the game buttons, aka the menu options, interacting directly with the save file system, changing keybinds, and leaving the game. In the first test, I will open Apocalyptica and display the menu. I will then interact with the title and the other game objects in order to show you what they each do. I have booted up Apocalyptica, and as you can see, the menu has perfectly loaded and displays all of the buttons that are necessary. So, each individual button on here, there are 6 buttons. Sorry, I can't count. There are 5 buttons, which will each have a different interactable thing. So first off, the Apocalyptica title is actually a button. So if I click on Apocalyptica, it should play a little animation of a zombie with its head exploding like a firework. And as you can see, it works perfectly. Now, if I go to the next button, which is New Game, if I click on this, it should bring me to a save slot menu, which should allow me to override saves or load new saves or make new saves. As you can see, we've got the slots here. Now if I click on this here, it'll allow me to override, and then if I click it again, excuse me, there's been a slight error in testing. I placed that there for testing purposes, so this should continue as normal. Perfect. Okay, forgive me, I put a little exception there just to stop me from doing something that I was making for a little bit of concept testing. So now you can see I've got the character selecting, but we're not going to go into that just yet. So by pressing escape, I can get back to the menu, and that will happen in most of the buttons here. The load menu will bring the I'll go back to this. I can then do the exact same thing. So without, as you can see, the save has not been fully overridden, but this one here does not need to be overridden, and thus I can pick a new character. The load game button should display a similar thing, but instead it should do the opposite. If the save is empty, it'll bring up the character select screen, and if the save is not empty, it should load that instance of the game. So if I do that, it brings up the character select screen, and if I go to the menu here, it brings up a game. And finally, for the buttons that I can really demonstrate, the other button is the quit button, which will just quit the game, and I will show you that briefly, but yeah. Oh, excuse me, sorry, for some odd reason my build is taking excess amounts of time. Sorry, I'm back. Forgive me for that. I had an error in the code, so basically when I downloaded Monogame, I believe I may have missed something that which copies across to create the actual window, so sometimes it does cause crashes, which is not my code's fault, that is my hardware fault. So, going back to what we were saying, if I go to the options button now, I now have the options for key mapping. So by pressing this, I can basically be asked to select a key. I can't do this with any other in the process, but if I then press, let's say, the letter Q will show up, and then if I go to the same one here, press Q again, another Q there, another Q is there. But just to show that this can be any other letter, I'm going to just click random buttons, and there you can see. So these control the up, down, left, and right, and if I were to change them, they would work in the game. I cannot show you without a keylogger, I'm afraid, but I can show you it working through the arrow keys, I believe. Okay, and finally we have the quit button, which, if pressed, will close the game window. As you can see, that has worked perfectly. As a side note, the menu should be traversable fully by both the mouse and the arrow keys. However, I have not implemented the arrow keys to work perfectly. So, thus, I failed the test of being able to use fully interactable and traversable via mouse keys. This is because the reason for this is because I had lack of time and was not able to implement the arrow keys fully. Okay, Now in this next test, and the final test of this video, I'll be demonstrating how save slots store data for each separate save. Okay, as you can see, I've got both the save slot menu and the save slot open. So the save slots are stored inside a file named previous saves, which is in the Apocalyptica project file, and each file is made up of these 5 attributes. You've got the slot name, the status, the name of the player, the class, and the wave. The name of the player is a useless variable which was used solely for the purpose of testing and basically differentiating between 2 different slots, and is not really necessary and will not really change from anything from player 1. Status is really important, which is explained in my design, and is used to basically allow the to prevent exceptions from occurring. So if I'm to change these slots here, if I am to change these slots here, they will interact directly here. So this being save slot 1, this is save slot 1, and now if I change this to used, and then change the name to player 1, and then change the class to, let's say, the ninja, and then we'll change the wave to wave 3. If I now press save, close this down, and then restart the game, we have a used slot. We are now on wave 3 as the ninja with all of the specific zombies. Perfect. And that concludes the file handling demonstration. And that concludes the test for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.